C1music.fm, the Familia. It is your host for the evening, Aaron Robinson. You know how we do all day, every day. And we are in the building with my panel. If you want to join us on a call, you could join us at 908-316-8630. Or you can join us by the web link, meetings.dialpad.com/C1 Productions. All right. And we are going to get started. Today's title is Honor the Lord with Dance. Honor the Lord with Dance. How's everybody doing tonight? How's everybody doing?
Wonderful.
Good.
Wonderful. Good.
Great.
All right, we're going to get started with our show today. All right, here we go. So, dancing has been a part of a religious and worship practices in various cultures throughout history, and this includes some expressions of worship in certain religious traditions, including Christianity. Whether dancing is considered a part of worship depends on the specific religious community, denomination, or interpretation of religious texts. In the Bible, there are instances where dance is mentioned in worship in context. For example, in the Old Testament, Miriam led the women of Israel in dancing after the crossing of the Red Sea in Exodus 15:20. And David danced before the Ark of the Covenant during a celebration in 2 Samuel 6:14. In the book of Psalms, there are references to praising God with dance. In some Christian denominations and contemporary worship settings, dance is incorporated into worship as a form of expression, celebration, and devotion. However, views on dancing and worship can vary widely among different Christian groups. Some denominations and churches embrace dance as a joyful and expressive form of worship, while others may be more conservative and prefer more traditional forms of worship. Cultural and regional factors also play a significant role in shaping attitudes towards dance and worship. In some cultures, dance has always been an integral part of religious celebration and rituals. Ultimately, whether dancing is considered part of worshiping God depends on the beliefs and practices of the specific religious community and its interpretation of religious teachings. So my opening question is, how do y'all all personally feel about dancing in church? What is your view? Anyone can answer this question. Your view on dancing in church.
You mean just dancing in general, or praise dancers, or what?
Yeah, just praise dancers dancing in church. What's your view on it?
Fine.
There's nothing wrong with it?
I don't see anything wrong with it as long as it's a way of praising and worshiping God.
Okay. Anyone else?
For me, you can dance, but don't. There's kind of dances that you can do in church. So if you want to dance, you can jump, clap, or something, but don't talk in church.
She said, do all that, but don't talk in church?
Yeah.
No twerking. No twerking in church.
No twerking in church?
Okay, dance is fine. It just has to be appropriate.
Appropriate dancing.
Yes, it can't be vulgar or anything of that nature. It shouldn't be distracting other people from worship.
So as long as it's not distracting. Are we all in agreement with that? Does everybody agree with that? As long as it's not distracting?
And we're talking about dancing in church. We're not talking about dancing anywhere else, right?
Right.
Yes.
Difference of opinions on that, too.
Gotcha. Yeah, but that's what we're talking about. That's what we're talking about. So we are in agreement that we are talking about dancing in church, and we are talking about there's appropriate dances. So if you are dancing inappropriately, there's issues that need to be addressed here. Am I correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, it shouldn't be done in church. Right.
Okay. All right, so here's my story. I want everybody to meet Pastor Jetson and his wife, Millie. They have been married for 21 years and have been the church leaders for 19 years. They got married at an early age, and 1 year after their marriage, they also started pastoring their church. It is coming up on their 20th church anniversary, and it was also going to be Pastor's birthday as well, so their church decided to throw Pastor and First Lady a pool party at this elegant five-star lodge and facility 3 miles from the church, where they had a swimming pool and outdoor amenities. The church hired a DJ for the day so that the church musicians would have an opportunity to mingle and hang out with everyone instead of playing music. Now, the church was a mixed crowd of males and females, but the church had significantly more females than males in the church. What is that? Yeah, in the church. So, hold on just a second, guys. All right, so now the church was a mixed crowd of males, like I said, and females, but the church had significantly more females than males in the church. The DJ was on point this day, playing all the Christian hits as everyone there was praising and dancing and having a good time. The theme for the day was Dance Like David Dance. However, Pastor Jetson was so into praising and dancing that he took off everything but his swimming trunks. And he was literally dancing and praising God for the majority of the time. And he never got in the pool. Everyone there was excited that Pastor Jetson was having a good time, as this was a celebration for him. But Millie was very annoyed with Pastor Jetson.
Blame her.
She was upset because while he was dancing and all, his private parts were being exposed to everyone through his swim shorts. And she had an issue with it in particular because there were more women than men there, and a good bit of the women were single. She felt that his dancing brought shame and dishonor to both him and her, and even to the woman that was there to witness him dancing. It wasn't a good look for him as the pastor. Overall, this exposure was dishonorable, she said. However, Pastor Jetson's attitude towards this was that he was dancing and praising to the Lord in celebration for what the Lord has done for him and not for anyone else, and he will probably do it again. His last statements to his wife on this day was this: I did it in the presence of the Lord. The Lord chose me to be pastor. Maybe I will lose even more honor, and maybe I will be brought down in my own opinion. But the girls you talk about in our church will honor me. This made Millie furious, and on the car ride home, she didn't say a word. When she got in the house, she picked up the phone and called you, who was also there, and she wanted advice from you on how she should handle the situation. What advice would you give her, and why?
Well, Aaron,
Speedos?
Nancy, I would the fact that he danced and if he was praising God, there was nothing wrong with that. The problem was his attire. Not him dancing if he was honestly doing it to the Lord. But you don't dance and your genitals are going all over the place. That's the error there.
Why did he strip down?
Exactly.
It's a swimming pool.
That in the... Yeah, I thought you said while he was dancing, he was taking his clothes off. He was stripping down.
He stripped down to his swimming trunks. He just never.
While he was dancing.
That's not.
He never got into the pool.
But why was he taking his clothes? I mean, if he was dancing,
He was
Why was
getting
he
hot.
stripping while he was dancing?
Maybe he was
the
getting
Holy Spirit telling him to undress.
maybe he was getting hot.
But
Maybe he danced and then he got hot. Then he took one thing off and he
well,
started
okay,
dancing again.
okay,
And then he got hot and took
okay.
something else off. And then he wasn't like dancing sexually. He was dancing for the Lord.
Okay.
Mm.
All right,
Him
so
dancing for the Lord is fine. Him exposing himself, even though it was unintentional, is not. In the Bible, it talks about don't let your good be evil spoken of.
Evil spoken
And
of.
basically, if that was happening, she should have tapped him and say, hey, interrupt this because of what was happening, as far as the malfunction of the wardrobe. That should have been addressed.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're turning a lot of people off with this, and this can be a big, huge stir. And if you have some immature Christians, you could be leading them astray.
well, it seemed like it seemed like Millie, his wife, was the only one who had an issue with him dancing. No one else had an issue with him dancing.
They probably just talked about him behind his back.
Yeah, for sure.
Hold
They were
on.
two-faced.
Amber, and Kathy, why are y'all laughing like that?
Your story's just funny.
Oh man.
So the question is, okay, the deed's already been done. She has told him, right, in your story, she has told him
How she
that she
felt.
wasn't a fan,
Yep.
right? So the question is, what would I tell her if she called me?
Yes. Because you was there too.
Okay.
You seen everything.
I'd say the deed is already done, right? Like it's already over with. You've already expressed your feelings. Give it to the Lord and move on. Like, more than likely, he's not going to strip down again.
He said
More
he
than
would do it
likely.
again.
Oh, yeah, he did say he'd do it again. See? But still, he's her husband. Maybe don't invite him to parties. I don't know.
Oh, you're too calm with this, Amber. So if this was your husband, let's put you as Millie. How would you handle it if this was your husband?
I would tell him, you look like a ridiculous fool. But it was him that looked like a ridiculous fool, not me.
So you just, what if he don't care if he looked like a ridiculous fool?
If it was unto the Lord, that's between him and God.
So you're cool with it?
My husband's done a lot of stupid stuff before.
Okay. Elder.
I don't hold it over his head.
Elder, talk to me, Elder. Brother Ray.
What would I have done?
Brother Ray was up there in his shorts.
Well, I would have pulled him to the side. I wouldn't have waited until, the party's over with. I would have stopped him from the beginning.
All right.
In a nice way. I wouldn't wait.
I don't know how you do that in a nice way, but I'm with you.
Well, you know me. If it would have been, if he didn't listen. But I wouldn't have done that because it was a celebration. But I would have went to him. I wouldn't have let him finish. I would have went to him and pulled him to the side and asked him, I need to speak to you about something, and let him know that what was going on.
Okay, and what if he answered you in the way that he answered? He said that I'm dancing in the presence of the Lord. The Lord chose me to be the pastor. If I lose even more honor, maybe I will be brought down in my own opinion. But the girls you talk about in our church that you're complaining about will still honor me as their pastor.
Well, then I'll be honest with you. I would have told him they wouldn't have heard me, but I would have told him, you're not dancing in the presence of the Lord. You're dancing for Satan. I would have told him that.
That's how it sounds.
Dancing for Satan.
I took a left turn.
If he didn't listen, I have told him how his appearance was and what was going on.
So because of their parents, he dancing for Satan.
Well, I mean by that,
He just acting for him in the spirit.
No.
He not in the spirit?
No, he's not in the spirit because I explained to him what was going on.
If you bring correction and he ignores the correction, then that's not the spirit. Because there's no confusion and chaos with the spirit.
Amen.
Oh, all right, hold on, Mercedes. Mercedes, what if he is dancing in the spirit?
I will let him be. It's just that I will put on a fan to him so that he doesn't get off his clothes or anything like that.
Put on a
I
fan.
will be supportive.
You do what? What she
You'll
would
be
do?
supportive? So she said she'll be supportive and put
Yeah.
on a fan.
Turn on the
Yeah,
fan.
because it's the reason why he's getting hot and he's trying to put off the clothes, right?
Well, put on a fan. You're outdoors.
I will put a large fan so that he doesn't have
Push him in the
exposure.
pool real quick.
Oh, that's a thought.
Yeah,
You gonna push him in the pool?
that's even better.
Oh man.
She gonna cool him down.
All right, Sister Edna, what's your issue?
Oh
He
Lord.
he said he dancing for the Lord.
I don't know about that. Like they said, when you're dancing in the spirit, certain parts of you won't be moving, and how are you going to just take your clothes off? That's the part I can't
He had
get.
swimming
You
trunks on.
understand?
He just had swimming trunks on. What's wrong with him having
Yeah,
swimming
but you
trunks on?
But you said he took his
But you
clothes
said while
off.
he was
He
dancing,
stripped down.
took
I said he
his clothes-
stripped down. No, he stripped down to his swimming trunks.
Right, while he
what
was
though?
dancing. Wow.
Right.
But he
For
couldn't have
what?
had much on anyway. I mean, at a pool party,
Yeah,
I mean,
it's a
he must
pool
have had on
party.
a shirt and flip flops.
And a
I
pair
mean,
of
and
pants.
But okay, so
maybe a
but still,
visor.
why are you undressing at all if you in the spirit dancing? Why are
Yes.
you undressing?
But if you're jumping around, it might have fallen off. It might have.
He
What?
said strip down.
No, he
didn't
took
say
it off.
fell off.
Let's say he was getting hot. He took his shirt off, and then he started dancing again. And he getting hot. He took his socks off. I mean, like, why y'all acting like he was stripping? I didn't say he was stripping.
But that's how it sounds.
No, he's not stripping. So let's get this in. He didn't strip. He took off his clothes while he was dancing. Then he's paused, took a water break. I mean, it was there for a couple of hours. My man was dancing.
Well, what I would have done was, you know how in church they get the sheets.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah,
Mhm.
cover.
Corey, he's standing
The
up.
next
He
time,
not
I'm coming to
laying
the pool
down.
party
And
with
you
a
know
whole
the
blanket.
people- right. And a water hose. But and ask people to help stand around him and so
That's
no
what
one
I'm
can
saying.
see him.
Yeah,
This is bad.
exactly.
They're gonna have people standing around him with sheets.
Yeah.
Yeah, rather
the
than a peep show.
Yeah. Mhm.
But then, hey, then you know if he's in the spirit or not.
Mhm.
So why wouldn't he be in the spirit, Elder Martin? I'm just trying to get that part.
I didn't say he wasn't, but I'm just saying. Well, let me just.
Oh,
I'm still confused with taking off your clothes while you dancing.
I just explained he wasn't stripping. He was not stripping. He was dancing. He stopped. He took off a couple of items. Then he started dancing again. He got hot again. Took off some more items. He wasn't like dancing and stripping
Aaron,
like
but
he.
he gave the appearance of stripping.
Yeah.
Maybe that wasn't his intent, but that's actually the appearance he gave. And at some point, I don't believe he was in the spirit either. We always say God's not the author of confusion. For him to be doing that and then him to be hanging out all
All
over
right,
the place.
let me ask y'all a question because y'all focusing on the stripping part, and I don't want to focus on that.
Okay.
All right, so let's say he took off all his clothes and just had his swimming trunks on from the beginning of the pool party. All right, and then he's dancing because y'all focusing on the wrong thing, in my opinion.
Okay. All right. We got it.
All right, so now he's dancing. He's dancing, and he's been dancing, and while he's dancing, things are dancing with him, and so all I'm saying is.
It still don't sound right.
Hey, Harris, do you have a video of this one?
No, negative. Negative.
I don't want it.
Negative. All right, hold on. Let me ask one of the males on this call. Fritz, talk to me. If you was there, Fritz, and you seen this going on, would you join Pastor and dance as well, or would you talk about him like, yo, what's up with Pastor, yo? Like he dancing for real. Like what would be your attitude? What would be your move?
Well, first, it would depend on the culture of the church. If the church is used to do that, then I think it would not be a big of a problem.
That he's
But
dancing?
if, yeah, the dancing, if it is, in the culture of the church, they're used to dancing. They see one another dancing like that, then it's fine by me. But I'm not gonna also judge the pastor if he's saying that he's dancing in the presence of the Lord. But the only question that I would have is, if you are really confessing that it is a dance for the Lord, then we have to validate that on the effects of that dance to those who are seeing it, or how does it appear on to the congregation or to whoever is around. So, because I could say I'm doing this for the Lord and do anything I want, and
Mhm.
no one could question it. Like, it's for the Lord. Why would you stop me? Why would you question what I'm doing? So the only thing that I could um gauge, or at least protect, is what the congregation sees or think on what he is doing. If it is stumbling, if it's like a dance, like what they're saying, if it appears to be he's tripping, even though he's thinking that it's innocent, and he's just, it's getting hot and he's stripping or taking off
Cancel
his
the
clothes,
stripping,
then
man. We canceled the stripping. He's just dancing in some swimming trunks, bro. He
oh
wasn't
yeah.
stripping. He's
So
dancing in some swimming trunks.
right. So if he's doing that and he's thinking, oh, it's okay, I'm just doing this. But if it appears to the congregation or to have whoever is around that, you know, they could lead to a distraction where they would think that he is stripping, even though he think he's not, then definitely that could also be a questionable act for me. So yeah, I would
Aaron.
Yes.
try to interfere if I could, or if I would.
So here's where it comes down to. The question is it what he did that was wrong, or is it the fact that she's embarrassed that makes it wrong? It's like when your kid does something that's embarrassing to you, but it's not necessarily wrong. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you get what I'm saying? So is it the pride that's hurt and that you're embarrassed that makes it wrong, or is it the actual act
I feel
that
like
was
you're going
wrong?
deep. You about to
It's
start
the
getting deep.
exposure.
But
It's
but
the
that's the
exposure.
point though. And I think part of it too is her embarrassed for him, because even let's just say, even if he was in the spirit, okay, and he came to the party in his swimming trunks, let's just say that. But still, in all, if he was juggling all over the place, jiggling all over the place, you don't want. You would hope, you would think that he would be embarrassed afterwards. That once he found out what went down
All
and
right.
whatnot.
So,
So that's
and
why I still would go with the.
if he's not embarrassed, then what?
Well, I'm saying I would go up to him, like I said, and ask wherever we are, get some blankets, tablecloths, whatever, and circle
Cover 'em.
around
Now
him
you
so that
embarrassed.
he's
Now
not
you
jiggling
embarrassing
all
him
over.
yourself.
Huh?
That's more trying to embarrass him.
How is that? You do that? You do that at church? If somebody falls down or whatever, or a lady jumps around or whatever, they come out with the blankets or with the
I've
Yeah,
cover.
but
never seen this
that's laying
blanket
on the
Nobody's
before.
blanket.
embarrassed.
Laying on the floor. My man is active and dancing. You gonna
No,
cover?
I've seen people.
But
No,
the whole
I've
point
seen situations where people are
is,
standing up and they circle around them
yep.
so that they don't fall and get hurt or whatever. So
Mm-hmm.
I would just,
All right. So your reason for
I
doing it
would
is
do
so he
what's
won't get hurt.
necessary.
So are y'all holding up the cloth so he won't get hurt?
So he won't expose his genitals.
Expose himself,
And
so
get
he
hurt.
won't be hurt. So he won't be hurt, nor his ministry.
Right.
There you go.
So he won't be hurt nor his ministry.
Right.
Okay. I get you. I get you. Shanae, what about you, Shanae?
First of all, I don't think like there's an issue like with him just having the swimming shorts because he's at a pool party and he's fitting in. Like I don't like expect him to have a suit there. But for a man of God, I think there are ways that maybe you should conduct yourself. So if you're dancing and things are moving, like I'd also like look for a towel and wrap it on his waist.
You
So
should
that
do
he
a
would,
towel around his waist.
yeah,
What if he takes the towel and starts,
Twirling
dancing
it
with
around.
it? Yeah.
then I guess there's nothing I'd do. I
This was.
just let
Let's say
him
you
be.
was Millie. You was his. You. This is your husband dancing. Will you have an attitude with him when you get home?
No, like he was dancing, so but he should also like look at himself when he's dancing, like
He
just be
said.
appropriate.
He said he doesn't care. He dancing for the Lord.
Well
And,
then,
But
and
he got a problem if he's exposing himself and then he says he
Yes,
doesn't
he
care.
does.
That's a problem. He's got a problem.
That's what I'm
Something's
talking about.
going on.
Because it has nothing to do, it's not that he's dancing, but the
Right.
issue comes in where he's exposing himself.
Yes.
And then that becomes that, then you getting out of dancing for the Lord to that's just not godly. You ain't nobody should be out in public exposing themselves. So you can't blame that on God. So if that was happening, you would have to cover him up.
I agree.
Because then you start to move into a different spirit.
Miss Plummer, talk to me, Miss Plummer. Are you agreeing with majority of the ladies on here?
Definitely. I agree with First Lady that you should get some beach towels or whatever, and the men that are there could at least circle around him while he's doing his thing.
And calm him down too. He can get in the spirit another time.
Calm down.
Put some water on him. Put some
Take it
water
down a
on him.
notch.
Put some water on him.
Yeah, so he sound like he's hot, so cool him down.
Sound like he hot. That could be took so many different ways.
Well,
Man.
somebody wanted to put a fan on him, so that says that he was hot. He was sweating. He was overheated.
And you said he was just it was hot out there.
Yeah, it was hot.
Right.
It was hot.
Turn on what is it? The hose and hose them down a little bit.
So, Sister Evans, you were saying the same thing. You would have grabbed a couple of sheets and stood up there. Like
Yes, I would have covered him. Yeah, I would have tried to cover him first.
I
Yes,
would hope
definitely.
he'd be mad if you didn't. You know what I'm saying? If he's saying he okay with that and exposing himself, like I say, he got a problem.
Something wrong.
Okay. Jenny, this is your pastor at your church.
I was thinking the same thing, that I would like simply go up to him with some robe or towel, wrap it around him to cover his, private thing.
What if he
And
rebukes
probably
you?
whisper to him that,
What if he rebukes you?
like, I would simply go up to him, like dancing myself.
You would
and
dance with him?
dance with
What is
him,
this?
Oh, my.
putting on some, like,
You'll be dancing
robe.
with him while trying to put the sheets around him?
Yeah.
And what if he
And then
rebuke you?
whispering to him that he's making a fool out
So
of
then he
himself.
ain't in the spirit, because if he
Mind that,
stop dancing to rebuke us, he ain't in no
keeping in
spirit.
mind that this position,
Not the right spirit. Oh man. I don't know, Jenny. Kathy, you the last one, Kathy. Talk to me. This is your pastor, the right reverend.
Well, I'm not trying to cover his genitals or something. He might just take the towel. He's hot. That's why he's dancing and stripping off his clothes. So if I try to cover him, he might as well remove the cover and continue dancing. I'm not trying to embarrass myself. I just watch.
You just watch? You gonna actually stand there and watch?
He already did the. I agree with the lady who said the deed is already done. So I'm not going to try and like tell him to stop.
Would you stand there and stare though? You'll be staring?
Yeah. I'll be watching.
You'll be watching.
Mm-hmm.
Now you might have the wrong spirit. What about that? You're standing there watching. That's horrible. All right, ladies. I want to go to the Bible, and I want to see y'all response on this. I want everybody to turn with me to 2 Samuel chapter 6. 2 Samuel chapter 6. We're going to read from verse 12. For everybody, I'm reading from the NCV version of the good book. Now, I want to talk to y'all because we're talking about David here. Now,
That's right. Go ahead.
yes, we're talking about David. And David, now, when they explained this, so there's two ways the garments that he had on that day. All right? There's two versions of what is out there. Back in the day when I first got into studying the Bible, I don't know why, or maybe I watched a movie at some point in time. One movie about David and dancing and stuff, and it always was presented to me with the thought that when you hear the story, Dance Like David, that David was somewhat dancing naked, or almost naked. That's kind of like how the movies portrayed it, or give you the thought process. Did anybody think the same way, or does anybody think the same way to a certain degree?
No.
No.
Okay, that's how the movies presented. He pretty much didn't have too much on. So then I did some research on it, and he either had I don't know the proper names, but it was a linen that he had on. So it was either it was a priestly linen that he had on, and it covered all of his body, like the priestly linen do, or he had like the warrior linen, but it covered like just his waist and going maybe halfway down to his knees. So depending on how he was dancing and if he had any garments under that, you know what I mean? So those are the two garments. There's nothing in stone that we can point to and say that this is what it is. So either he was dancing looking like a priest and he had the straight full-fledged robe on, or he had the little, like a skirt, kind of like a skirt thing that was kind of wrapped around him, and pretty much when he was dancing, I guess the skirt was jumping up and down with him. Either way, those are the two things that we're going to examine today. All right, so we got 2 Samuel chapter 6, verse 12 to 23. I'm reading from the New Century Version. And it reads like this. Does everybody have it? Everybody's with me?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. It says here, verse 12, the people told David, the Lord has blessed the family of Obed-Edom and all that belongs to him because the ark of God is there. So David went and brought it up from Obed-Edom's house to Jerusalem with joy. Verse 13, when the men carrying the ark of the Lord had walked 6 steps, David sacrificed a bull and a fat calf. Then David danced with all his might before the Lord. He had on a holy linen vest. David and all the Israelites shouted with joy and blew the trumpets as they brought the ark of the Lord to the city. As verse 16, as the ark of the Lord came into the city, Saul's daughter, Michal, looked out the window. When she saw David jumping and dancing in the presence of the Lord, she hated him. Verse 17, David put a tent for the ark of the Lord, and then the Israelites put it in the place inside the tent. David offered whole burnt offerings and fellowship offerings before the Lord. Verse 18, when David finished offering the whole burnt offering and the fellowship offerings, he blessed the people in the name of the Lord all-powerful. Verse 19, David gave a loaf of bread, a cake of dates, and a cake of raisins to every Israelite, both men and women. Then the people went home. Verse 20, David went back to bless the people in his home. So he now was walking back to his home to bless all the people in his home, in his immediate home. But Saul's daughter, Michal, came out to meet him. She said, with what honor the king of Israel acted today. You took off your clothes in front of the servant girls of your officers like one who takes off his clothes without shame. Then David said to Michal, I did it in the presence of the Lord. The Lord chose me, not your father or anyone else from Saul's family. The Lord appointed me to be over Israel. So I will celebrate in the presence of the Lord. Verse 22. Maybe I will lose even more honor, and maybe I will be brought down in my own opinion. But the girls you talk about will honor me. And Saul's daughter Michal had no children till the day she died. Now, when I read this, the first automatic thing that popped up in my head is that, man, she addressed him and she sounded like she got punished for it.
Yeah,
Because a woman's honor back then was to have children. And I read and I looked it up, and she was his first wife. He had no kids with her. He had no kids with her. So it sounded like she got punished.
I think she did get punished.
It sounds like it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think she did get punished. But I guess I heard it wrong. I thought what happened, the reason why she didn't have kids is because David was no longer interested in her. You know, not that she tried to have kids, but that he had no more relations with her.
I don't know. I was just telling Amber earlier. I
don't know either.
I was watching a movie that did their research on this whole topic, and it was interesting because David loved her, and mostly like all the other wives that he had besides Bathsheba, most of them were like transactions, business deals. He did it to secure his kingdom. He didn't do it out of love. Every other woman that he married, even Abigail, it was all transactional. It was business deals.
Yeah, but I think she lost his favor though when she came criticizing him. That's the way I kind of interpreted it.
Okay, Sister Nancy. So how if the pastor was dancing the same way he was dancing, Pastor Jetson, and you come with your sheet going to cover him, should you get punished?
If I was doing it because he was exposing himself, I'm not telling him not to dance and not to for the Lord, but if he was, all hanging out, then no.
I mean, isn't that what do y'all think she was mad about? Why do you think she was mad?
I think she was mad because he was dancing, period. Maybe the women and everything else, but I think she didn't like the idea that he was dancing at all. And then all the other stuff that may have gone with it. But like I said, I'm only making suppositions. I have done no research, but this is what I thought it was about.
Okay, Elder, what about you? How do you feel about that? She got punished. She immediately had an issue with him dancing. And specifically talked about the woman.
But she also hated what he was doing unto the Lord, too. And the Lord knew her heart. So I think that was taken into consideration, too.
By David or by the Lord? What do you mean?
No, I mean she hated David for worshiping and praising God. That's what I'm talking about. She, right from the beginning, as we read, it was saying that she said that, she hated him for doing that,
She hated for dancing. So you think so her ill feeling was just the fact that you saying taking the position of Sister Nancy and saying that she hated him. Plus the fact that he actually just danced. But why would you? Why would you care about him dancing? Like why is that a big deal? He was
Maybe her
dancing.
heart wasn't. Maybe her heart wasn't with the Lord like David was, and maybe she wanted David not to be doing that to that extent, and maybe sister also too. Maybe she wanted David to take and approach her, but he was there praising the Lord when he came back from the battle. With the ark. You know.
Okay. Mercedes, what do you think? And again, she specifically talked about the woman. So why do you think she pointed all that out? What was the issue?
I think she's kind of jealous for me.
Jealous of what?
Jealous because the other girls are seeing what they supposed to not see, and his husband doesn't care about that.
So you saying that she's mad because the other women were being exposed to him and he didn't care? Is that
Yeah.
the reason why?
Yeah. For me, I felt that she's kind of jealous.
Okay. Sister Edna, why do you think? Sister Edna? Talk to me.
Hmm. Well, I'm sure she was displeased in the way he was dancing, and I could see her being a little concerned, but after him saying that he was dancing for the Lord, but
Now, Miss Edna, you know you was going hard just a few minutes ago about him. He not dancing for the Lord if it's confusion. You was the main one saying it's confusion.
right, yes,
So
and I
are
still
you changing your tune up right now?
no, I still say there's
So
no confusion with the Lord. You know that, and I know that. The Bible tells us that
okay,
there's no
so
confusion.
so who was confused in
But
this situation though?
well, I think there's some confusion on both parts, to be honest with you.
You just said God is not in that if it's confusion. And then you saying it's confusion.
He's not. He's not. I think, when you started talking about it, I thought it was David that you were talking about because the Bible tells you like David dance like David. David just went crazy with his dancing. So maybe he didn't realize all that was jumping around on him. But I'm kind of certain you feel stuff when it's moving on your body. I would think. Okay. So, so that's what I'm saying.
He was in the spirit.
Yeah. He was slayed in the church spirit.
All right, so what are you saying, Miss Edna?
I'm saying I don't want to say that the man wasn't in the spirit. He's saying he was dancing for the Lord. Okay. I want to believe he was dancing for the Lord, but kind of calm down. Moving around like that, it's getting the other people are crazy. And like the wife
The
was
only
saying,
person was going crazy is you.
me, I'm going crazy for him dancing in the spirit now.
But I'm saying his wife was the only person that had an issue with him dancing.
Mm-hmm.
And she the one that
Right.
pointed out, yo, you was dancing in front of all these girls.
Well, wives kind of have to look out for their husbands. Sometimes their mind is slip or whatever. So she was just trying to protect her husband.
From the servant girls at that.
Mm. I just think it was crazy. It's a crazy situation.
The issue starts in verse 15. So David and all the house of Israel brought up the ark of the Lord with shouting and with the sound of the horn. That means all of the house of Israel was there, not just him. But she was inside looking at him through the window. Therefore, she was not celebrating.
Right.
She was not participating
Right.
with all of the house of Israel. which means she was not happy about any of it. She was not happy that anything was happening.
I agree.
Exactly.
Okay, so because of that, he might not have been showing all exposure. She would have been angry either or.
Right.
So
her heart was not with God, clearly, at that point in time.
So him dancing and using the servants was a guilt trip, trying to make him feel guilty.
Probably.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, who knows? Maybe she had an issue with the ark because her dad was the one who put the ark where it was.
Okay, I agree. Fritz, what do you think, Fritz?
Yeah, I agree with that. I just want to add that even David knows her issue when she addressed him on verse 20 onwards, that how the king of Israel dignified himself. But David said to Michal, I was before the Lord who preferred me to your father. So he did not address the dancing thing. David rebutted her with her issue with the favor that was given to David. So I guess Michal was not in issue with the dancing at all, but she is indeed jealous with whatever is happening at that time, which is the favor of the Lord is showing to David instead of her father.
Mm-hmm.
Got you. I agree with you. I agree with you on that. So, Sister Plummer, if this was your husband and he addressed you and said, "Yeah, you wasn't dancing at all. You was looking out the window. You have a heart issue."
I think she had a heart issue. I really think it was more like, okay, you're the king. You can't be out there acting a fool out there, Because remember, she's not thinking about him praising God. She's just seeing him as a regular, everyday person. And he's not supposed to be a regular, everyday person. He's the king. So he should have an air of dignity.
So you saying he didn't have any dignity at all?
Well, she didn't think he did because remember, she's not part of the celebration. She's just the outsider looking at what's going on.
Now, here's the interesting part about this. Like I was saying, I watched the show on this, and I watched like the whole season. Like her and David, like they had their ups and downs, but David really, really, really loved her, and his relationship with Jonathan grew because of his sister, because of Michal, Jonathan's sister. That was Jonathan's favorite sister, and so their relationship kind of bonded. We all think it was because David was not killed his father, but it was more for David taking his sister and protecting his sister. That was like his little sister. So he trusted David, and the fact that he felt that David was anointed. So even though he had to kind of prove himself to his dad, when he went back and fought with Saul against the Philistines or whatever, Ishbeth, his brother, on the other hand, favorite sister was Merav, who there was like internal issues between Ishbeth and Jonathan. Ishbeth didn't like David whatsoever, and he was trying to protect Saul because it was this thing about David being the anointed one and everything, and so on and so forth. So it was Jonathan felt that David was the anointed one, and that he was next in line, and Jonathan didn't want to be king, yet still Ishbeth wanted to be king, and he wanted Saul's line. He wanted to preserve Saul and his line, and Jonathan was also trying to protect his sister from everything. So he gave David. It's like, listen, like even when David married Michal, in a TV show, it showed that Jonathan got married on the same day as well. They both got married like together, and Saul considered at that time David one of his sons as well, because of the relationship he had with Jonathan, and because him marrying, giving his daughter away, Michal, to him. But you know what I'm saying, you never get to the point where it seemed like him and Michal. Now, obviously, I didn't see this particular part in the TV show. But him and Michal, they fought to get back to each other at all points and times in the show. It's like they had a lot of breakups and stuff breakups, meaning that they kept getting separated from each other because of the drama that was going on. And it seemed like they always was, fighting for each other and fighting to protect each other. And David was trying to keep his word to Jonathan about protecting his sister, and he wanted to prove to her that he was loyal to her dad and he would never hurt her dad and this, that, and the third. Like, he went through a lot to just disrespect her and just say, I don't care about you no more. You know what I mean? And even some of the other women that came into his life, like Abigail and some of the other people that, like those are all transactional things. He didn't really care about them. It's like he only cared about Michal. And I also feel like Michal also gave him some legitimacy of him being a king, because of her bloodline, a royal bloodline of being part of the royal family, with being able to unite some of the guys, some of the other people.
I'm sorry, I don't think we can put too much stock in a Hollywood movie.
I agree with you on that as well.
I don't even. I mean,
Yeah.
I can't
She
even buy
should've-
version. But go ahead.
Biblically, Michal should have. I think that she was punished because of her public disrespect. She met him outside. She met David outside and publicly disrespected him. Even though she saw him in the window, she came. And if listening, knowing that story, actually, David got upset with God because remember when the Ark of the Covenant was about to fall, the guy went to reach out to and he died. Right. And so then God was like, you mad? Then I'm going to take the Ark away. And everywhere the Ark went,
That's
that
why in
person was
verse
blessed.
12,
So
he blessed that other family instead of David.
Right. So then, and David is already dramatic. I'm not saying, but he's a poet. He plays. He does everything. Even praising God. He was a man after God's own heart. Every 6 steps, he did. He made an offering and all of it. So it was a whole big thing because he was so grateful that God was allowing the Ark of the Covenant forgave him and allowed the Ark of the Covenant to come back in. So it was this big thing on top of, that. And then he humbles himself by disrobing and putting on, it was priestly, just down to the linen, the priestly linen. Yeah, that's what he had on. And dancing. And she was embarrassed. I think she was embarrassed. And not only with her or just saying like, you're doing too much. And then just come out and say, you are doing too much. Like, why are you doing all this? Like to do it publicly, they come out and you won't join in, but then you're going to come out and say, like, and disrespect me. You're saying I'm being disrespectful. I'm embarrassing myself, but you're going to come out here and embarrass me on top of it. I think that's why she was punished, so to speak, because she didn't even understand the whole thing, how David was. As much as she loved David, and David loved her. He took the foreskins of like 100 Philistines and all. He did a lot to get her. Right? That's the one, right?
Yeah.
So, with him doing all that, he did love her, but also he is the king. She still needed to respect him. Didn't you say that early on today? You don't like to be disrespected?
Yeah, I agree. I can't disagree with you on that one.
So I think that's why.
Anyone else want to add to that?
Good topic.
Summed it up well.
Anyone else?
I still bring a sheet. I'm bringing a cover to the pool party, the next pool party.
Exactly.
For sure.
and that guy was at a swimming party for his birthday. It wasn't this totally different situation.
Maybe he was like, he beat a sickness, and he just was like, praise God, I'm here. I don't know, but yeah, I'm still bringing the blanket. The blanket is out.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh man, got shout out, man. All right, anyone else want to add to this as we get ready to close? I told Fritz this was going to be a wild one today, man. What you thought about the topic, Fritz?
Yeah, it was a bit. We were talking about dancing in general earlier, but now we are talking about something else. But it was a good twist, though. It was a good twist, and I also want to add on because I was looking at this verse in the verse 16 when it was said that Michal was already contemptuous of him in her heart. Yes, there's a side of me that wants to think that yes, probably she was cursed because she was contemptuous. I'm also tempted to think that maybe she just hated him. Like she she is just bitter and she doesn't want to have any affairs or any intimacy with him anymore. That's why
Mhm.
she doesn't got to have
Mm.
kids until the day of her death. So I'm thinking, I was just thinking about that she was just too bitter to celebrate with him. She was just too
Mm.
bitter to continue that kind of relationship with him because of the favor that was
All right,
granted to him
so
instead of.
here's my
Mhm.
question now. I want to just propose at this point in time, at this gesture right now, her brother Ishbeth is still alive. At least at this present moment. Why not leave if you don't want to be with David no more? Why not go back to Ishbeth? Ishbeth didn't die yet. Ishbeth is
Mhm.
going to die after all of this when the guys bring his head to David. So why not go back? If you hate David so much, why not just go back to Ishbeth?
Could be a strategic like political position that she was in. But she's still
She the queen.
David's wife.
Yeah, so she ain't leaving that.
She's a queen. You just don't leave your husband, whether you're queen or you're just an everyday citizen. Women just don't leave their husbands just because they
Hey,
made them
listen,
mad or upset them or have
listen, Con.
problems with
We
her.
read many of stories. There's a donkey waiting for her, man. She could have got on a donkey and rode off into the sunset.
This is David, not Abigail's
Yeah.
husband.
Mhm. Yeah.
That's not going down for David.
There's a donkey.
You're right.
There's a donkey waiting for her though.
She had the good life.
There was a donkey waiting for her.
And her father was king, and now she's queen. Why would she step
Yeah,
down to
she's not
anything
leaving
else?
that.
Listen, we thought a couple of people shouldn't have left that, and they did. I
But
forgot her
she
name.
didn't.
What's Shorty name from Esther? The first queen.
Uh, um, um,
Vashti or
yeah,
Vashti.
Yeah,
Vashti.
she rode
Vashti.
into the sunset on a donkey, man.
No, she got set down. He
Yeah,
sent her to
Yeah.
the basement to never
yeah.
be seen again.
She got
She ain't
escorted
riding
out.
nowhere.
Yeah.
Nah, she was on a donkey, got escorted out, man. Peace be unto
By the
you.
king.
So I'm
Yeah,
saying, if
she
she
got
hated the
set
king so
down.
much, I mean, like she could have voluntarily left. Vashti did that on her own choice.
Because she would bring a lot of shame to herself if she did that. It's one thing to be sent away, it's another thing to choose to leave.
Well, in Vashti's case, she chose to leave because of her not wanting to be sexualized.
Yeah.
In any case, that's a story for another day. As our pastor always say at our church, be safe, be blessed, be well. I want to say thank y'all for listening. Thank y'all for tuning in. Thank y'all for joining in the conversation. And I'm going to say, everyone, have a good night. Be safe, be blessed, be well. Again, thank y'all for
Amen.
listening.
Good night.
Good
Wear
night.
Amen.
wear long
Good
swim
story.
trunks.
Good
Good
night.
night, everyone.
All right. Good
God
night.
bless.
Good
God
night.
bless.
God bless. Good
Bye.
night.